Eagles wide receiver Quez Watkins shocked the world on Thursday evening when he scored a 79-yard touchdown on a screen pass, burning the turf in his tracks. He ran so fast, in fact, that according to NFL Next Gen stats, he would have been the 13th fastest player in the entire league had that run came last season. Now, this comes on the back of what has been a very impressive summer for the second-year wide receiver. We're hearing a lot of praise from Nick Sirianni, from Aaron Moorhead, from all of the beat writers in attendance at practices, and then under the lights of Lincoln Financial Field at a open practice, we saw Quez Watkins ball out and perform a huge reception in the back of the end zone, leaping up and snagging a ball out of harm's way for a touchdown, which isn't something that you characteristically associate with him. Then Quez Watkins actually spoke to reporters after Thursday night's game and basically said that he approached this offseason with almost a vendetta, with a chip on his shoulder, to prove that he was more than just a speed guy, to add all of these other arrows to his quiver, to prove that he is more than just a deep burner. So what I wanted to do was look back at that rookie season, look at the receiver that we're seeing now, or at least perceived to be seeing now, and see how high is the ceiling for Quez Watkins. So buckle up, Eagles fans. It's time to dive into the film room again. So the first thing we have to look at is the fact that Quez Watkins didn't exactly have a great rookie year, okay? He had some problems with regards to injury setbacks early on, and by the time he actually got on the field, it was sort of too little too late. The season was in disarray. You had a quarterback change. No one knew what was going on. And in 6 games, caught 7 passes for 106 receiving yards. It's not brilliant, okay? But we need to understand what Quez Watkins does well, and that is someone that can stretch the field, ran a 4.35 40-yard dash, and he's just seen typically, and I know he'd hate me saying it, but as a burner, at least coming out of college, that was his thing. It was surprising then that the Eagles rarely used him on those go routes as a rookie. They rarely looked to see him downfield. When he did get open, there were a couple of times against the Cardinals, for instance, it was encouraging. There was one play against the Dallas Cowboys where Jordan Lewis actually starts running back from the line of scrimmage about a second before the ball snapped, like darting backwards, trying to shade inside, knowing that if Watkins gets going, he's not going to keep up. The reception was made anyway. However, I think what we saw towards the end of that span was a receiver that was really lacking in confidence, and you saw it quite heavily against the Washington football team in week 17, but I mean, by that point, I think we'd all lost confidence. There were a couple of drops and near misses and plays that he'd want back. There was another play where he adjusted for Hurts in the back of the end zone, come back around and still, again, an inch away from being a touchdown pass. You saw a player that over the past few weeks had been bullied at the line of scrimmage, and this was, I think, the knock on Quez, that he is a smaller receiver, and against press coverage, if he doesn't get that inside track, if he doesn't burst off the line well, he's going to get rerouted. He's not good at fighting off those jams and can get swallowed up in the stem, which is going to drastically impact your timing for a route. This isn't a player that can kind of just fight through that physicality. He's not a Travis Fulgham. He's not someone that has the sharp route running and the physical tools to break separation if he hits a jam. So if he's in an open cushion and it's against zone, he's going to thrive all day long. If he's at press, you're going to see him blanketed for the start of that route, and you just have to hope that by the time he gets open, the play's still alive and you can still make that throw, albeit off timing. That brings us very neatly to our next thing, and it was something that Quez Watkins was actually clowned for at the start of the offseason. Many of you will remember, if you're on Eagles Twitter, there were some videos that got posted of Watkins putting in work. Now, usually, if a player puts in work, it should be respectable. It should be commended and applauded, not attacked and mocked. And there are a lot of people, I think, wrongly going after Quez Watkins, insulting his route running, and there were times where he was trying to stop on a curl route or a comeback, and it looked like the stop just went on and on and on and on and on and on and on, and I think it was kind of humorous for a lot of fans. I went back, and there was one particular play that stood out, and I know you can't put these two players side by side, but Watkins and Fulgham both run similar curl concepts, and what we see with Watkins is someone that has so much burst, so much athleticism, so much acceleration. He's almost got a bit of Avonte Maddox in him, where he doesn't know where to process all that energy. Now, not to get all scientific, okay? Energy exists. If you generate it, it can't just be sucked out of a vacuum without it going anywhere. It has to be redirected. And the problem we see with Watkins in this particular play is when he goes to stop, he does something that not a lot of receivers do. He bows his head straight down, and his legs kind of shoot away from his stomach, and he ends up almost like he's trying to stop the Bridge of Khazad-dûm in Lord of the Rings, where he's just leaning back with his head forward to try and stop early. The second that head bows down, the corner knows what's going on and can go straight down and break on the plate. That's a problem, because what Watkins does well in most routes, whether it be post or corners or ins, whatever they may be, is he sells head fakes, and he can break and redirect that energy round, and that's exciting. What he struggles to do here, though, when it comes to a complete stop, is bringing all that energy up top and trying to push it down to his legs. What he should be doing is going from the legs, pulling it up the body. So if you're running and you can twist your hips, you're almost dragging that energy round with momentum, which is what we see Travis Fulgham doing on the other side of the field. You get a player that had been bullied in press coverage, that struggled to get off the line, that had then clearly had his confidence knocked, and someone that needed to work on his intricate route running, because at the minute, you've got someone with a lot of speed, and that was about it with Quez Watkins. There was speed, you could see some potential, there was some nasty route running there, but there wasn't a lot else. And then you remember who's in that wide receiver room. Not only have you got Aaron Moorhead, the wide receiver coach who had been kept, one of the only coaches to have been kept from that former era outside of Jess Stoutland, but he's now in a room with 4 players arguably, who are all very, very intricate route runners. Devontae Smith, one of the crispest I've seen in a long, long time. Jalen Reagor, lauded for his route running. John Hightower, in my opinion, is sitting between Jalen Reagor and Devontae Smith. In my opinion, the second best route runner on the team. Not the second best receiver, but the route runner. This is a guy that cooked Steven Nelson, let's not forget. And Travis Fulgham, who is built like Alshon Jeffrey and almost moves like John Hightower, but almost needs that volume to get him going. You know, once you start lighting the fire, it's going to explode, but you can't let that fire burn out and then expect it to just catch fire by itself again. So you're in a wide receiver room where route running is very clinical. Nick Sirianni comes on board and wants to abolish banana routes. He puts a real intent on these crisp breaks, this crisp route running. And all of a sudden, then you've got Quez Watkins, who, by his own accord, has gone into the offseason wanting to get better, wanting to improve and become a more valuable weapon to the offense. And you're seeing it now. That training camp video where he hauls in the huge pass not only shows some soft hands, but it's confidence for him to go up and make a grab. I'd not seen him in that rookie season. I watched it all back today. I'd not seen him jump. And it sounds silly, I understand that. This is a 6-foot receiver though. He's not going to be contesting jump balls. But the catches he did make, he'd be clattered. He'd be charged at by a safety or a linebacker, because he struggles to, if he's turned around for a ball, again, redirect that energy. He becomes stagnant and it's an immediate hit for a player breaking down because he's made it so obvious. You're now seeing a player that's confident. There's someone wanting to go up, and if you've got energy coming this way, push it back the other and have a middle ground where he's got a fighting chance to make that catch. I like that. There is a sense of confidence there. You've got a clear quarterback who favours his game in the way of Jalen Hurts, and this is more than anything a wide receiver now that is becoming more versatile. Yes, he scored on a screen pass against the Cardinals. Yes, he scored on exactly almost the same play against the Steelers. But he also got open on a route that was narrowly missed by Jalen Hurts, and had he just fought off that extra hand movement, it would have been a deep completion. But if we compare that route, the near miss of Quez Watkins, where he's able to fight through contact, make a note of that. But last year, where he would be blanketed, route against a corner in press coverage, you're just going to get pushed out of the way almost, or the corner's going to end up, you're just pocketing in between himself and a safety. You're not seeing that now with Watkins. There is this intent to drop the shoulder into a break, to sink the hips into a break, to get those hands in early, not letting a cornerback put his hands all over you and fight and push you and throw you around. There is a bit of an edge to Quez Watkins now. And I'm not sitting here saying that he's going to go out and have like a 1,300 yard season, because if we're honest with ourselves, there's a lot of depth in that room. And unless Greg Ward takes a shortfall, Watkins is not going to be a starting slot receiver. However, he will be a very valuable piece off the bench as someone that in speed packages, that on screens, on pitches, on sweeps can not only be dangerous because he's clearly got an intelligence of when to hit the hole, but he's now becoming a much better route runner. And in my opinion, that was his biggest weakness coming out of college. It was only sort of used on go routes. He gets to the NFL, he's used on nothing but screens and short pitches and the occasional in-breaking route. There's nothing really to expand that route tree that's clearly faltering. He's worked on that this offseason, and you're seeing development. And Watkins has developed. Now, I can't say the same about John Hightower. I haven't seen him in preseason. I can say the same about Jalen Reagor. I thought Reagor looked really crisp on Thursday night. There was one out-breaking route. I think Nick Sirianni called it a bench route. It's technically an out. It's the same thing. But again, that transition of energy to stick your foot in the ground and drive through was really impressive. And I think Aaron Moorhead is getting the most of these receivers. So is Quez Watkins going to have a breakout season? He might end up putting up more yards than Jalen Reagor did as a rookie. He might be looking at a 300-400, maybe even a 500-yard campaign, because what you're seeing is a receiver that is not just someone having crazy speed, but he's working on the weaknesses. The hands are now becoming a strength because he's got the confidence to go up and attack the ball as opposed to just sit and let the ball come to him like we'd seen in a few other plays. I really like what I've seen out of Quez Watkins. I hope he has a breakout year, but I wanted to go back and see what that perception was and the rise of Quez Watkins and track that development, and hopefully it's been insightful to you guys. We're going to have more coverage on the way over the next few days. Make sure you leave a like, hit that subscribe button. Also, there will be another watch along on Thursday evening, so make sure you're tuning into that, joining myself and our PSN Eagles team watching the Eagles versus the Patriots. From myself, Liam Jenkins, you can follow me on Twitter at Liam Jenkins PSN. I'll see you soon.